April showers bring May flowers, but does it also bring sexual assault awareness? Reporting from UConn stores with Husky today, this is Daniel Lopez. Although Sexual Assault Awareness Month ended in April, sexual assault is still an issue that impacts college campuses nationwide. UConn is no exception. Students have felt unheard and failed by the administration's lack of action. UConn has sent out statements and held events that tackle sexual assault. But was that enough? Husky Today checked in on UConn students and staff to see how they feel about this heated topic as we transition into May. Sexual Assault Awareness Month is an annual campaign during April that promotes sexual assault awareness and education on sexual violence prevention. The University of Connecticut is one of the colleges that actively participates in the campaign. One event the public university held was Take Back the Night, an open mic show that honored survivors of sexual assault. UConn's campaign activity does not make them exempt from this issue. In February 2022, there were protests sparked by Lexi Dawkins, a student who felt that UConn handled her case poorly.
The series of protests started with Alexandra Dawkins. The sophomore says her own sexual assault case was mishandled, and she says she was mistreated during the 6-month investigation.
In the end, my perpetrator was found not in violation due to really a he said, she said situation. I always felt really invalidated and treated like a liar.
Also, in their 2021 safety report, UConn indicated receiving 80 reports of sexual assault during 2020. This doesn't paint a good picture for the university. Following Sexual Assault Awareness Month, we met with Maddie and Victoria, 2 UConn students we interviewed at McHugh and Oak Hall, to get a better understanding of how students felt after the campaign's end.
I'm from Connecticut, and one of the reputations that UConn has that isn't so good in Connecticut is that of sexual assault.
Maddie brought up UConn's reputation regarding sexual assault. She feels that the official announcements, like this one sent out by Carl Lejuez and Frank Tewitt, are not enough to build trust with students.
Well, we've gotten a lot of emails from interim presidents and deans and et cetera, kind of saying, here are the resources. The problem is that I feel that students don't trust the resources, and perhaps for good reason.
She also felt the way UConn educated students about sexual assault, including the mandated online sexual violence courses, weren't enough.
And say that the answer is not whatever stupid training we do at the beginning of every year. You're not going to computerize somebody out of sexually assaulting people. While education is important, I don't feel like that's being accomplished through the kind of institutions we currently have in place.
UConn's failure to adequately address sexual assault was also echoed by Victoria, who felt that she needed to take a more supportive role for her friends due to UConn's unreliability.
Most of my friends that I hang out with, they've kind of just been dimmed down, and it's really hard for them just to deal with campus, just to come on campus every day. I'm kind of just like a therapist to my friends, just because, there's no one else to hear them. So it's definitely been a struggle.
It's apparent how UConn students feel about how sexual assault is handled on campus. But what about UConn staff? We also visited the student union where we went to the Women's Center. There, we spoke to Elise, the assistant director of the Women's Center, and whose knowledge of the subject paints a picture that isn't black and white.
So my name is Elise Dela Cruz. I'm the assistant director here at the Women's Center. I'm also the director of our Violence Against Women Prevention Program, and I have been working in the anti-sexual violence field for over 10 years. In the sense that I think a lot, and this happens on and off campus, right? Reporting to UConn, reporting to the police will get you possibly a certain outcome, but what justice looks like for survivors tends to be a lot more broad. What healing looks like tends to be a lot more broad.
Elise said unrealistic expectations of justice when reporting sexual assault and misconceptions were to blame for feelings of unrest.
The example of Law & Order SVU, right? I think a lot of us have grown up watching Law & Order SVU, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't think it accurately conveys how absolutely traumatic and long the process is.
Remember before when we mentioned the 80 reports of sexual assault at UConn? In an article that covers the report, UConn explains why the numbers were so high. The school is open to investigating incidents that have happened in the past, which is great for people who struggle to report them. Seeing this large number alone gives the school a bad image, But a huge problem is that many students aren't reporting their cases due to misconceptions and fear.
I think there was a lot of misconception on whether or not, like, cases could be handled if they were, like, could be investigated if they happened on and off campus. And so I definitely heard a lot of folks saying, well, if it's off campus, it doesn't get investigated, and that's not true.
Elise adds on, giving us information about the resources the university offers.
So all the cultural centers are an exempt reporting space that they can go to. If you want counseling, there is support through Shaw, where they have licensed therapists. They have therapists who are actually on call.
She also acknowledges that UConn does, in fact, need to make changes.
I think that absolutely, UConn needs to make changes. I think the biggest change is making the information a lot more clear and accessible. And I know folks who, in the Office of Institutional Equity and, community standards, these are things that they're also thinking around on, how do we make it a lot clearer, the support the folks have, and where they can get the information.
Although there's a divide between students and administration on how sexual assault is approached, it's clear that the Husky community is taking steps to handle this delicate topic. If students continue to raise their voices and staff continues to listen, hopefully UConn reaches a future where everyone feels safe. Signing off from Source, Connecticut, this is Daniel Lopez.